I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today my guest is Jacob Greer with Sixth Man Moving. We'll be back to talk with him after this.
Talkapolis programming is sponsored in part by the Center for Advanced Dentistry, now serving the greater Nashville area.
Welcome, Jacob.
Hey, thanks.
So you got a moving company, huh?
That is what we do.
That's a tough business. I mean, there's a lot of companies that have been in it for a long time, and kind of how do you differentiate yourself from some of the bigger companies?
Ooh, hit me with the buzzword already.
I know.
Value prop. I mean, we're shaking the industry walls with doing what we say.
Okay.
Showing up on time.
That's novel.
Getting people that we let in our home first.
Right.
Sourcing our employees from better places. And then we have process in place to coach and grow and scale, and those are things that I don't think the older players in the industry really have.
So are you competing on quality of service more, or price, or is it a value kind of thing, or why would I pick you over one of the other competitors?
It's a little bit of all that. You're talking about an intangible service with your most tangible items.
Right.
So it's really hard to know how our value is if it's not measured up against something or some experience you've had in the past. In terms of who we cater to, I mean, we're not meant to move everybody. Mm-hmm. We know that. So it really is just kind of a vetting process for our consumers, and they seem to all come through the same classic means of hearing about us. Word of mouth is how we really grow our business.
How do you make word of mouth happen? I mean, that's we all would love to have word of mouth work for us, but it doesn't just happen.
Yeah. You got to tug on your fans a little bit.
Right.
You kind of got to make them work for you. I will say social media helps. It's not the end all, but really it comes back to that just enjoyable experience, and believe it or not, that can happen in moving too.
Sure. Well, it's a stressful time, and I think if you can find a way to make the customers happy and make it a smooth process instead of a worrisome process, I think that is a huge value to the customers.
For sure, it's all about the preparation and expectations, and we work hard on the front end to kind of set those clear and those boundaries.
Now, are you mostly a local moving company, or can you deal with people moving anywhere they want to go?
Yeah, we really can take you as far as your wallet will go. In terms of what the majority of our business is locally in Middle Tennessee, and
right.
We kind of spread the state line north and south, and in terms of, but we also have kind of gone and gotten people in California and brought them here, or I've gone personally to Winnipeg. So we've done it all. I got a couple crews in D.C. right now picking up some things for a customer that needed a storage unit cleared out, and so it really just depends on your situation.
So you didn't, I mean, how did you get into this business? You told me you went to school to be a teacher, correct?
Correct, yeah.
All right.
It was my first job, to be honest. I had a buddy that his dad owned a moving company in Memphis, Tennessee. They are still in business today. They're Country Club Movers. I believe it was white collar service with blue collar prices. He kind of showed me the ropes, took me in as a teenager, and taught me some work ethic that I think was already there. He just had to drum up.
Right.
And more or less, I kind of went down like most people do, tried my hat in different things, different areas. I really come from a hospitality background in my other jobs, and it just kind of matched up with my skill set.
And when you first entered the market here, you owned a franchise.
Yes,
is that correct?
Yes. I got in business with a good buddy of mine, and his name's Stephen Reed. They started Big League Movers out of Memphis, Tennessee. They're now located in Atlanta, and I believe they'll be coming back in the market.
So it's a small franchise company.
Small franchise, regional franchise.
Okay.
And we were their third.
So
location.
why did you go into a franchise in the beginning? What kind of led you into a franchise?
Well, I was always interested in kind of running my own show.
Okay.
The business model was, at the time, I thought was developed as a brick and mortar. Here's how you do things. Right. Here's how we get customers. Here's how we move in the market. Here's how we operate. You know, there were parameters that were set up, which was appealing to me. I didn't have to learn just all the ins and outs.
Systems are in place. The forms are in place.
Right. You get your insurance from this company.
Right.
You get your. So that appealed to me, and it seemed like a good place to start.
But then you broke from the franchise.
Broke from the franchise.
So
yes.
talk about that process.
Ultimately it was kind of a move that was forced upon me. It wasn't something that I would have maybe chosen otherwise. But to make a long story short, there were 3 business partners involved, myself and 2 others, and the 2 others kind of had a divorce, so to speak, in the business world.
Right.
And that just opened up dialogue for me to figure out what we want to do with my branch. And after some long, hard conversations, I decided to close the doors of that business here and go off into my own brand and start really developing how I see things should be done operationally, what forms should be completed,
right.
what insurance company we should use, and it just kind of put a new set of challenges in front of me.
So breaking with a franchise can sometimes be difficult because they sometimes will put in barriers to keep you from competing with that. Were there non-competes that you had to deal with, or?
It was pretty civil, Ultimately, I created a very good buzz about the franchise here. We left it in good standing in the community, which made it hard on my part to kind of accept and move on. But I kind of look at it like this is my sophomore album. This kind of truly defines if we'll stick around. And I had some really good practice and some really good mentors throughout that franchise experience. So in terms of the difficulty of it, I mean, essentially I got all the assets. I kept my workforce. I informed my customer base, and we changed names. That was essentially it.
And have continued to grow since then, or was there a certain dip, or did you just kind of keep chugging right ahead?
I think, it wasn't much of a dip. We kept chugging ahead. I mean, I think everybody was very receptive. I will say this community, more so than others, they appreciate you doing your own thing.
Right.
And they kind of harness this entrepreneurial spirit, the American dream of, creating your own. So,
right.
So it wasn't too much of a pushback.
So where are you going to go with this company going forward? Is this something you want to kind of maintain as more of a localized, specialized kind of mover? Do you want to try and grow this business? What's your plans?
Yeah, I think that's what we're working on right now. We're finding that there's a tipping point there.
Right.
And I think that when, especially in this market, once again, that is harnessing local business, what is that threshold? Is it 20 trucks? Is it just one community? Are we focusing on maybe franchising it in another location? Those are the kind of questions we're starting to answer.
So when you say tipping point, you max out your capacity to kind of manage what you have with what you have now, and it becomes very expensive to grow beyond that, or?
No, I don't think it's the max out of management points. I think it's the value prop in itself.
Keeping true to what you do.
Keeping true to what you do. Yes.
It.
I mean, I've had a few mentors throughout my business process, and one in particular who helped all these bargain hunts around town.
Right.
Peter Markham. He's part of Dev Digital, which is a development.
Peter's a good friend of ours. Yep, good guy.
Well, he always told me, the minute I got to get an HR department is the minute I'm out of the business. And I really, I agree with that sentiment 100%.
Right.
I've got some corporate background under my belt, and with bigger companies, I think you do lose touch at some point. And I think that's what threshold I'm trying to find out is how much business can we take on and still remain genuine and authentic in our approach.
Love that. All right, one last question, the name.
Sure.
How did you come up with the name?
Well, my last company was Big League Movers,
Okay.
and we were baseball, and it really gave us a team environment, a sports theme, something to get behind, alignment with sponsors and brands and things like that. And I didn't want to lose that, and I was never a baseball player, so it was once again kind of in a pressure situation to come up with a name, come up with a brand, and I was always
Coming up with a name is harder than sometimes people think.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was difficult. I mean, even down to the logo and the all that stuff. You just kind of think, oh well, this is the easy part, right? But I was always the sixth man. I was always the most valuable bench player. You kind of have to be ready to produce when you get called into the game.
Right.
You got to keep the bench happy and the morale up in there, and then honestly, you get the coach's ear. So you're kind of the first to hear everything and kind of get that vision. But we're poised and ready to be called in the game. That's essentially what the philosophy that's behind it.
Excellent. Well, I love your story, and I love your sense of maintaining, that consistency with what you're trying to accomplish, and in terms of the culture of the business and the value you offer. So congratulations.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
And I'm sure I'll be seeing your trucks rolling around town.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you so much.